Welcome to the Art of Relationship show. Greg welcomes live calls from listeners in helping with numerous marital and relationship problems. There will be no more tit-for-tat arguments. Greg
Everybody, welcome to the Art of Relationship show. It is Thursday, 12 noon, as we all know, and looking at the elements to where, what is going on, what is happening in your relationship and marriage. We know with COVID, right? It's a pain in the butt, isolation, everything else. So this topic might be for past issues, and I'm trying to prevent new issues after COVID and the U.S. opens up and the world opens up back again, okay? Again, it's not getting into a right or wrong situation. And you can comment down below, please. Hey, Lisa, welcome. And ask your questions, ask your comments down here. And it's so not easy. Gonna be talking about boundaries in your relationship. And Greg, why are you talking about boundaries? They're easily set because of social distancing, isolation, lockdowns, all that stuff. That's why I said I want to be sort of preventative and look at, do you have boundary issues in your relationships? And this is a huge, huge issue I run into often, if not daily. It's quite a few times a week. And looking at, some boundaries that, you set up. Well, I can't set boundaries. It's my mom. It's my dad. It's my sister, my brother, whatever it is, okay? It's your kids. Oh, my God. What about that? And step family dynamics, let's face it, they are a lot more difficult. First, we got to look at, what boundaries are in your relationship, okay? You have to be on the same page or come to, a healthy, happy, somewhat compromise what those boundaries are. It's one of those, we could bring up, everyone loves Raymond. The parents stop by whenever they want. They're not invited. They don't call first. They just stop by. I don't want to live that way. I'm just throwing it out there, okay? That is not the way I want to live at all, okay? I'm all about, common courtesy and respect for other people. Call first, ask, hey, we thought about stopping over, that type of thing. Your partner might think, maybe you're one of them that thinks that's okay, that it's allowed, that what's the problem, their family. You need to determine what boundaries are, applicable to you in your relationship in a healthy way that respects, okay, both your partner and yourself. And yes, I said it's a respect issue, okay? And you look at, I've been doing this is what I think. But that doesn't mean it works for your partner or works for your relationship, okay? Now, people are going to say, and I get this, okay? Boundaries need to be set as a relationship progresses. You get me? You're dating somebody for a week, okay? Your boundaries are not going to be as cemented, right, as they are if you're married or you're, dating maybe 6 months, a year, that type of thing. You're living together, okay? The boundaries are going to be more cemented. They got to be, there's got to be a level of security there. There has to be a level of trust and respect built for your partner relationship, and that does take time. I understand that. So that doesn't mean, okay, you're dating, went out on 3 dates, and your partner, oh, what do you mean you're doing this, you're doing that, your mom is allowed to do this, no, you get me? There has to be an even ebb and flow with that situation and what works good for you, okay? And I hear a lot of people, mom interferes with this, dad interferes with this, okay? And it's even more difficult if you have a parent living with you or you're living with them, okay? And if you're living with your parents, and I get, economics suck, you're waiting for a place to move into, that type of thing, okay? And it's their place and you sort of have to follow their rules type of let's face it, it's their place. But if it's your place and your parent, your mother, your father are living with you, they need to abide by your rules. It's not the other way around. And they may feel, right, I'm your father, I'm your mother, so you have to do what I tell you to do. You're a freaking adult. And it makes it sound easy. I make it sound easy, but we know there's a level, maybe there's a level of guilt. There's a level of shame if you set boundaries within your family and your parents, okay? And other boundaries, they cut across friends, they cut across work, they cut across, maybe spiritual aspects, okay? And looking at the effects it has on your relationship. If you are maybe being overly social, that type of thing, and I got, what I do, I take, text calls, messages, a lot. Okay, so I want to help as many people as possible, but I also want to set boundaries within my own life. And there's some people that have a hard time that, they try to, let's face it, they try to justify certain people, calling or texting 11 at night, at midnight, 1 a.m. Oh, they da-da-da-da-da. It's a friend of mine. It's with. If it's an emergency, I get it. But you look at, there's a difference between a close friend and a close relative. That doesn't make all relatives close either, okay? Then, you know what, an associate. And are you opening up? Do you have wide open boundaries to everybody and it interferes with your relationship? So number one, you need to determine what boundaries are needed that you both live by and you both respect, one another. That type of thing. I don't decide what those boundaries are for people. No, you do, okay? So you need to be able to look at and understand what those level of boundaries are. And what gets in the way of sharing those, okay? And we have, boundaries left and right. What is healthy for you? I suggested one, okay, we're not going to have friends, family, that type of thing, come over unannounced, okay? And some people have, oh, it's my brother, I can't do that to them. It's a level of respect for your household, your relationship, and your partner, okay? So think about that. And there's a lot of things that get in the way of setting healthy boundaries within our lives, within our relationships and marriages. It could be social pressures, right? It could be religious beliefs. It could be maybe you have a hard time saying no in general because you don't want to feel guilty. You don't want to feel, that pressure of disappointing others or having others be mad at you. And it's one of those aspects. You have a right to say no and set those boundaries within you. No, after a certain amount, don't call me unless it's an emergency, okay? We're trying to rest, we're trying to spend time together, mom or dad. Unless it's an emergency, please, respect us, don't call after this amount of time. You get me? And you might have to clarify, you might have to clarify what an emergency is, okay? I had a client many, many years ago when I used to work with kids and teens, besides couples. I had a teenager that called me at 3 in the morning and he couldn't sleep. And I'm like, I'm like, what's going on? Are you okay? You feeling, I'm making sure depression, all this, what's going on? Are you okay? Trauma happened, reoccurred type of thing. And, oh no, Greg, I'm okay. I'm just really nervous. I can't sleep. You know what? I want to ask this girl out on a date and I'm so nervous I can't sleep. And I said, oh, wait a minute. Then I learned about myself, right? I'm like, oh, I did say call me anytime, text me anytime if there is an emergency, right? If you have any questions, whatever. Number one, maybe I shouldn't have answered the phone. You get me? That's on me. And I'm thinking, me trying to help if there's an emergency type of thing. And then I had to educate this person what those boundaries are, what an emergency means to me. Okay, and I get it's anxiety provoking, it's nervous, and it feels that way because our emotions are just overpowering us at a moment. But you need to be able to cement those boundaries to show the relationship is a priority. Okay, and those boundaries, number one, do those boundaries show your partner or yourself that they are or you are a priority? Okay. Is your relationship or marriage a priority? And again, this happens over time, right? Like I said, you're dating someone for a day, the boundaries are going to be probably a lot looser, a lot wider than if you're dating long term, okay, or living together or married. You get me? It's that level of, trust and respect has to be earned. Big time, right? Now, what is the problem about saying no? And you can say no. You know what? You can tell your mother, your father, you know what? I love you. However, please don't do this again. And they're going to start pushing these boundaries. Let's face it, right? Because they're not used to you setting boundaries. Maybe. But if they overstep it, then you have to be more firm, more blunt. I told you not to step this. You're disrespecting me. And you need to be able to stop this and be able to set, those appropriate boundaries. If people are overstepping your boundaries, well, they won't listen. Then maybe you need to set alternatives as far as maybe disconnecting contact. Because you're allowing them, well, I can't do it. It's my mom, it's my sister, my brother, my best friend, my cousin, whoever it is, okay? You do not allow them to overstep your boundaries, big time, okay? And these can be, like I said, with step family and younger children, it's a lot more difficult and balanced. But if you have adult children as well, you need to be able to set those boundaries and those parameters and that level of respect and what that level of respect means for you. And if you have boundaries that are wide open, you get me? You know what? you try to hold water in a strainer. What happens, right? It's not going to happen. So, say your boundaries are like a sieve or like a strainer, wide open, okay? Everything's going to fall through. You need to be able to, number one, be firm. Look at what covers. Lisa said, yeah, true. But you need to be able to look at what those boundaries are and be able to teach others what your boundaries are. If they don't listen to them, then you be firm. You need to be able to command that respect, and they're going to, they're going to push. They're not used to you saying no. So they're going to beg, plead, make you feel guilty in trying to dismiss your boundaries because they're not getting what they need or want anymore. It's same thing I said, in various sessions when I said about, being a people pleaser or a doormat. It's so difficult to say no, but we look at the underlying issue. Is it a matter of you don't want to disappoint anybody? You don't want anybody mad at you. You don't want anyone not to love you. I get it. It aches, it hurts, whatever. But this is about self-love and self-respect and looking at if others do not care about your boundaries, if they do not respect your wishes, that's on you. That's not on them because you're allowing it. Plain and simple, I'm blunt. I'm not trying to be rude, people. I'm being honest. So you need to be able to look at, what am I doing to command respect and love for my partner and for our relationship or for our marriage. Sounds simple. I know it's not simple. Not at all. But you need to be able to command that respect and be able to look at, what are the boundaries for them? You can look at, some people they're used to having Sunday dinner. We'll use that as an example. Every single Sunday, they have dinner at the family. Now, they're in a relationship and it's okay. Now, they're in a long-term relationship and they are married, they're living together, that type of thing. And the one part, I've always gone over to my mom's for Sunday dinner. Okay, but now you're in a relationship. Now I can't disappoint my mom and all that type of thing. If your partner is okay with it, terrific. Great, I'm not saying that. But if it causes problems, you need to be able to set boundaries. Maybe instead of every Sunday, you go every other Sunday, every third Sunday. And your parents, your mom could whine and complain. I get that. But it is about you and showing that your relationship or your marriage is a priority and your partner is. And if they don't feel that way, guess what? You're going to be in my office, you're going to be doing virtual sessions, or the relationship or marriage is going to crumble because your partner is not going to feel like a priority, okay? And I'm human too. I need to do a better job with that myself. And I tell people, I'm not perfect. But being able to look at, where are those boundaries at? Are your kids, are your, and there's boundaries where, maybe exes, right? It's your kid's father, your kid's mother, and they always need your help. You get me? And now, what does that look like to your current partner? Is that an issue? Is that a problem? Oh, I've always done this. I feel so guilty if I don't help. It's my kid's father. It's my kid's mother. You know what? You got to set those boundaries. And if it's about the kids, great. That's different. That's a priority. But if it is not about the kids, you need to look at how it's affecting your relationship and what emotions are stirring within inside of you. Where's that guilt coming from? Where's, that self-love? Why is that missing? What is causing you not to set boundaries? You know what? I can't do this anymore. I'm in a new relationship. You need to find somebody else to help you out. Sounds easy, right? And it's not easy, but as people know, I'm huge on looking at the underlying issues, the emotions, the feelings of guilt, feelings of shame, feelings of like you're a bad person if you tell your mom or dad you can't live here anymore, that you can't come over unannounced anymore. Oh, I feel bad. Well, I've raised you, what do you mean I can't? It's that you're commanding respect for you, your relationship, or your marriage, and other people need to abide by that. Or my question is, what are you doing to change that and make each other feel like a priority and make each other feel like you're loved and respected, and that, the sanctity, if you will, of the relationship comes first instead of other people. And like I said, it's a progression, right? You're dating someone for a day, 2 days. You're not going to have that same level of, that has to be progression. That has to be earned, and level of respect has to be increased, okay? So these are very, very crucial elements. And what are you doing? And if you have a hard time setting boundaries, and we know people, believe me, that they are going to try to punch through them, kick through them, stab through them, shoot through your boundaries because they're not used to them, okay? Number one, I want you to be able to hold your ground. And if you have a hard time, I get it, okay? It's not easy. I'm making it sound easy. I get it. It's emotionally grueling. And I want, our partners, I want us to have that level of compassion and empathy. I get it's not easy for you. This ain't working for me, okay? This relationship and what's happening, there's no boundaries in place, and people are left and right, but they're my family. Well, what am I to you then? Then it looks like, that priority is not your partner anymore. It's not your husband, your wife, your girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever. Now you're looking at issues. Oh, I can't believe they wanted me, and it turns into, right? They wanted me to cut my mom out. They wanted me to cut my dad out. It's not that. It's about setting limitations and what works best for your relationship, or it's going to reach its demise. Plain and simple, okay? It sounds easy, but I'm telling you what's going to happen. And then those people, right? Maybe you're one of them, will play the victim role to where, oh, they left the relationship. They wanted a divorce because they wanted me to tell my mom no or tell my dad no. You know what? People are going to look at you, oh my God, they're a rotten person. Then they're going to walk away from you and say, you know what, I get it. I get why she walked away, or I get why he wanted to be done with the marriage or relationship, because there weren't those boundaries in place, right? And it's very difficult. We have sick relatives, maybe in hospice, and we want to take care of other people. That's not what I'm saying, okay? If they live with you because of whatever reasons, they need to abide by your rules and respect your residence, your home, okay? They need to respect your relationship or your marriage, or are alternatives in place. And it's not easy, okay? When you come in the guilt and shame, and you're looking at maybe financial aspects, okay? Or then you look at, if they don't abide that, are there, low-income housing alternatives, okay? Are there other relatives? Are there assisted living aspects? And I know I'm going to get a lot of people, you don't get it, Greg. I do understand. I do get it. And it's looking at reaching that balance, but the level of respect has to be there for you. And the level of understanding, you know what, I get it. It's your relationship. It's your marriage. It needs to be about that, not always about your relative, your best friend, that type of aspect, your sister, okay? So what do you do to cement those boundaries and deal with the emotional, the guilt, the shame? It's not easy, okay? And if you do have a hard time with that, talk to someone, talk to, a professional, talk, me, whatever I can do to help, and look at, reach out to somebody to give you, try to help you empower and to set healthy boundaries for you and cope with the guilt and the shame that you might be feeling. And maybe you feel like you're a lousy person for setting these boundaries, okay? Not easy, but it needs to be done. A lot of relationships and marriages, they crumble based on boundaries not being set, okay? Another example, you could have someone, married, whatever, and they come home, 3-4 nights a week at 3-4 in the morning. And no, they're not working afternoons or midnights. They're out running with the boys, out running with the girls. You get me? And, they're thinking, oh, I'm a man. Don't tell me what to do, or I'm an independent woman. I can't. Well, that might not work for a lot of people. And why do you want to leave me, right? Well, you want me to do something I'm not. No, I just don't want to live this way, okay? And that tells me I'm not a priority. That tells me, you know what, you don't respect me as your partner. You don't respect our relationship or our marriage, and this is not working for me. Easy? No. It's emotionally devastating. Heartbreaks, right? We all know heartbreaks are the worst. They're devastating. They rip us apart, okay? But also selling yourself out, not commanding respect for yourself and self-love. I think that might even be worse, okay? So, check out my website, theartofrelationships.org, people. And please, share the video. Please, I'm all about helping people as much as possible. And try to give them, the aspect about empowering them to make positive, healthy changes that work for you and also for your relationship or marriage. And believe me, boundaries cut across. These are for single people too, okay? Not just relationships. I want to clarify that. Maybe you are pulled in so many different directions. This person needs this person needs this. You're working, you're that. And you don't say no. This is for you too, to empower you to set those healthy boundaries for yourself. I'm exhausted. I can't do this anymore. I need a break. It's healthy. And people, family, friends, whatever, they need to respect that and understand that. Some won't because they're selfish. Let's face it. It's all about them. You need to keep people around that look at, how things affect you as well, and it's not all about them. Okay? Again, my website, theartofrelationships.org. Check the show out every Tuesday, Thursday at 12 noon. Actually, it's been Thursday at 12 noon. Right here on Facebook, you can check it out. Please follow me on YouTube, Twitter. It's Detroit Love Guru. Instagram is Detroit's Love Guru. Twitter won't allow the S. Okay, check it out. I want to help as many people as possible, okay? Peace to everybody out there. Take care. Bye-bye.